why I hate Ugg slippers on athletes. And now I know I had taken a shot at athletes for doing that at the end of summer, leading into fall sports, and I'd only really gotten to explain myself as to why I hate seeing athletes wear those on a football field, let alone on a basketball court or wherever it is, walking around school, walking around everywhere. I only really got to explain myself in a small group or to one person at a time. So the main reason, I joke around and say, oh, it makes you look friggin' soft and privileged. But really, I say that when I joke around. But in reality, why I hate them is, well, have you ever seen them, what they look like? They don't have really anything around the heel. It's just kind of like a slide, but...
And there's no aeration.
It's just, and the main reason why I hate them is because the most common problem that I've seen in athletes the last, let's say 5 years, 6 years, is aside from most of them starting to become a lot weaker than what we would normally deal with 10 years ago when they first come in as a new athlete to our gym. But the most common problem I see in athletes today at the high school, even middle school level, are just tight, weak feet and ankles. And, if you're all messed up from the ankle down, I can almost bet that everything on the way up is going to be messed up too. So, I haven't.
It's the Jordans. It's all those.
Yes.
Those shoes they don't want to crease because they want to keep them,
absolutely
box ready.
But like I was saying, like the reason why specifically I hate the Ugg slippers is because like you really would be better off just walking around in sneakers if you didn't want to wear your cleats everywhere, which you shouldn't wear your cleats everywhere. But another reason why is because there's no heel backing on that. So the only way you can actually really move without those slippers falling off your feet is to pretty much try to keep your foot in a state of dorsiflexion the whole time. Now, you're locking your ankle in dorsiflexion, and for those of you who don't know what dorsiflexion is, it's basically just keeping your big toe pulled up towards your shins the entire time, right? And you're doing that, you're creating a habit of that with every step you take. Like, you're taking a minimum, 10,000 steps a day, let's say? And you're doing that in these shitty slippers so that they don't slide off your feet. You're trying not to let those, what do they cost, $110 or some bullshit? You're trying not to let these slippers slide off your feet, these expensive fucking things that are actually ruining you, because you don't want your foot to be exposed. But what's really also happening is that in staying that dorsiflexion, right, what I've also seen people walking around with them constantly is not only are they dorsiflexed, but they're walking externally rotated. So externally rotated, for those of you who don't know or really understand, is your feet are now rotated out. So you're basically walking like a duck or even a penguin, right? So your toes are basically facing, let's say at the minimum they're facing 11 and 1 o'clock. So now your gait is off, the way you walk is off, the way you're striking the ground is off, and your ankles are already tight, right? So tight ankles, tight feet, there's no rotation through those joints that need to be able to rotate. There's no mobility, right? So now you're forcing the next joint up, the knee, to be able to compensate for that lack of rotation from below, from your ankle. So the knee should only be hinging, but now it can't hinge properly, and it's got to compensate for poor movement from the ankles by then trying to rotate. A knee should never rotate, right? But on top of that, go further up the line. What's happening with these tight ankles and improper knee movement? You start to see that pelvic tilt. You start to see weak glutes, all right? And for some of you skinny athletes wearing these stupid friggin' slides or slippers, whatever the fuck you want to call them, the reason why that you're not fast, most of the time, from what I've seen at least, isn't because, you just weren't born fast. That's a whole nother story, but, these if you're wearing these slippers all the time, it's preventing you from being fast and strong because you're never getting proper movement through your hips. I've never seen anybody who rock these slippers all the time and have great triple extension. I've never seen anybody that rock these slippers all the time with strong glutes. Nothing, right? All I've seen are just weak, deconditioned bodies with a soft mentality. And last I checked, sports are extremely chaotic and violent. I've never seen anybody succeed in a sport that was soft and weak. I mean, have you?
Oh God.
And there you
We can
go.